Okay, everybody. Welcome back to another 2 p.m. PST Twitch stream. I'm your host, Strange Bear Jim, and today we are going to be getting back into Pega. Um, uh, just was not feeling like 100% yesterday, so I was like, I just didn't, I tried to get myself ready, but I don't know, my energy just was not there for it. So I kind of took a day off. I know it's typically my Wednesday worship day, but I just wasn't feeling 100%. So, um, excuse me. Um, so, today we got Pega. We got our time to do some uploads. We have Subnautica Below Zero later on tonight. And then after that, I do want to get back into doing some editing. So now, um, let me go ahead and get. Now, people are like wondering, "Oh, Jim, what's going on? Hey, your Pega screen isn't showing up." I know, I know, I know. Let me fix that. There we go. Okay. So, um, one of the things that I want to talk about today concerning Pega is the fact that we had some issues with one particular exercise, and it kept on cropping up, and I kept on trying to go back to it. I kept on getting emails saying maybe try this, maybe try that. None of it was really working until I finally was like, let me do this, let me do that, and eventually it got to a point where I was like, oh, hey, we're gonna magically work, and that's not great. Um, you know, I had, um, multiple scenarios where, um, or, I tried to work on it like multiple times to a point where, um, it would, it should work based off of, um, their steps, but I kept encountering an error. You'll probably see that in the past videos. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Is this more of a... Okay. It's just a quick load in. Was having some issues with that. Okay. Um, so here's what I'm thinking about doing. Okay. Um, well, first off, let me get some things like out of the way first. One, I'm not endorsed by Pega at all. Okay, I'm not getting any kind of like special treatment or anything like that from um, from the company that controls Pega. Um, I'm, this is not meant for their benefit either. We are not, kind of getting any like major like benefit one way or another from each other. Okay. Well, I mean, in some ways, I'm kind of highlighting what they are, but let's face it. Before I got to the last company that I worked for, I had no idea that Pega existed, which is kind of kind of interesting. You would think that, hey, maybe you should get your marketing team to kind of work on it a little bit more, to kind of branch out a little bit more. Maybe you need people like me to try to talk about it a little bit more. Get more Java programmers that, might be interested in developing in Pega. Just saying. Now, granted, most programming devs, they're probably going to be looking at the low code and going, I don't know what you are, you know, why would I want to do anything that is, why did you suddenly start up? Go away. Um, why would I want to work on something that is a low code application? Um, and as a company, you're going to need to address that. You know, why would someone that had, basically worked for their degree for years, learning the code backwards and forwards, learning the basics, learning the more advanced techniques, and so on and so forth, get to a position where they hardly ever touch that? The only ones that would ever really be working with high-end code are the people that actually work for this company to begin with. So, um, so that's something that you're probably going to want to address on that end, as a company. But, um, you know, I don't need to worry about it. That's not necessarily my position. Okay. Now, I, in my particular case, I'm trying to work towards getting my certification in, in having the system architect. Okay. I'm not an authorized training partner. Don't consider this instructor-led training. Okay. Um, because I'm not an instructor. Um, I don't have vast amounts of inside knowledge about what, Pega is all about. I'm learning just as much as anyone else would, for the first time, trying to work on this program. Okay. So, so that's it. That's about as much as, just know, um, I'm learning just as much as anybody else. Now, I have been in the workforce with Pega, working with Pega to try to develop some projects with a client. Okay, so I'm not brand new, but I mean, I'm still not exactly an expert at it either. Okay, so um, we had some problems with the child case a couple days ago. Um, Tried getting in contact with the people at Pega about it. And, then I got a couple emails from them about, what I could potentially do, but I didn't get anything that would kind of, I never got anything concrete from them that fixed the issue. Okay. So, matter of fact, let me go to webcam here because I want to check my email real quick. Hold on a second. Let me see if I got an updated email from them. I did not. Okay. Um, Now hopefully it shows. Yeah. Okay. Um, okay. One second. I need to wet my whistle here a little bit. Okay. Now, um, now my idea right now is maybe I can try to see if there's something that I can find that might help out in some fashion or another concerning this whole child case issue. Okay. Obviously, Pega did a lot of background work on the project to try to see if it can, work flawlessly. But obviously, there's some kind of problem there. Okay. So what I want to try to do is I want to go into I'm going to go ahead and launch the instance in this particular case. I'm going to go ahead and go through, all the steps that I would normally take to, complete the project again. Yeah, I know. I'm doing it all over again, guys. I know you're probably going, Jim, come on, man. I'm trying to get to the I'm trying to get to the certification as much as you. No, I get it. Okay. But believe me, um, you know, so, you know, as any, programmer should probably know, okay, um, you know, it's very rare for you to develop code and not have to do some debugging afterwards. Okay. In all the code that I've ever made, I think I mean, which isn't much. Okay. I know friends that were always like, they were always coding something. Okay. Um, and in some ways, I kind of wish that I had that their kind of mental capacity for that. Um, but I didn't. I keep on finding other things that kind of divert my attention. Um, but so I'm not, you know, as one of my teachers nicely put it, I am an average programmer. So and I don't I don't mind. You know, uh, guess what? Any company out there is going to want an average programmer to get stupid programs done, worked out, and let their, more advanced, knowledgeable programmers work on the more serious issues. While I handle some of the things that, anybody could do. Okay. I don't mind that. I'd be happy doing that. Okay. I'm not one that will like, um, you know, I'm not going to be like aiming for like the top position or anything along those lines. I just want to code. So, but that's me. I can't seem to get that across to companies, I guess. Um, but one step at a time. Just keep on plugging forward, right? Um, I was going somewhere with this. um, so, um, troubleshooting. Okay. When you get done with your code, you're gonna need to do some amount of troubleshooting to make sure that it works properly. Okay. Um, because um, more often than not, um, it will get to a point where um, you know, there was, like I said, out of all the code that I made, there was only one time where um, out of all the code that I made the code and it worked perfectly. No errors whatsoever. It worked exactly how it needed to work. I didn't do any debugging on it whatsoever. Okay. Once. Now, granted, it was a small program, you know, um, probably no more than 1,000 lines of code. Easy. Um, you know, but uh, you know, but I like that I was able to have that happen to me. Now you know, I'm sure others have had that happen to them as well. You create something and you compile it, everything, you know, compiles without any errors. You run it and it works as designed, you know, and it's a fantastic feeling when that happens. But when you have, a problem, when you encounter a problem, or if someone encounters the problem, you're gonna need to dive into it and figure out what the root cause of it is. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go through these steps, and I'm going to, you know, obviously, we're building it for the first time, quote unquote. Okay, and we are going to go ahead and see if um, what was done under the hood, you might say. Okay. See, this is App Studio. Okay. Um, this is what your Pega System Architects 1 would do, or the lowest level of your Pega System Architects would probably be working on, or this is obviously one that the business analyst would be working with. Okay. Um, so um, so you get to um, did I forget to hit save? I think forgot to hit save. Fuck. Okay, delete that. Save. Surprised that it didn't do any form of notification that hey, you didn't save. That would. Oh well. Just in case. Yeah, that's saved. Okay. All right. So, if we do the save and run, now one would imagine. Okay, hold on. We're having some errors right at this moment in time, or we're having some things appearing here that should not be appearing. Now, granted, I messed up on, or I messed up on the saving and all that, so maybe there's some issues with the connection between the two and the case types. I would hope not. Oh wait, I know what the issue was. Hold on. I should preview. They told me to do the log off and log on. I remember that. Why? I don't know. Okay. It's again another one that it's like, why am I having to log in and log right back out again, to try to handle that kind of a connection, you know, I don't know. One would think that maybe you shouldn't be, maybe you should look into that a little bit. Um, okay, so there goes that. Now what I want to do is probably try to see if I can delete these two right here, the assistance requests A1 and A2, get them out of the work list here. So let me see about like outright canceling them or deleting them if I can. Nothing I can do there. Nothing I can do there. Let's see. Can I just cancel this? Delete. There we go. All right, there's that one out of the way. Go, cancel, delete. All right. Now, everything's cleared out. Now, obviously, when we go up here to the assistant request, it'll go, hey, this is A3. It is what it is. Nothing you can really do about it. So now, we're gonna use the City Hall in Boston, like we did before. Here we go. There's that. Our 16 digits. Okay. Going, approval, get some notes in. Oops. Okay, this is where problems normally happen. So when we hit select provider, yeah, see this is where our error comes into play here. Okay, so there's uh, now so one of the um one of the tools that you can use, okay, um, to try to see, to try to maybe, find where the issue is, okay, is what's called the tracer down here. Now, I haven't really used it all that much, um, so I'm not an oh, geez, come on. Can we not? Okay, well, apparently I can't really do that. Um, Now, I really haven't used it all that often. Okay. Once again, nice, um, one of the things about the my um, my fantastic last job was the fact that um, my trainer really didn't do much, or at least it definitely felt like he didn't. Um, he kind of let someone else do the work for him. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, you all can't see this particular window. Let me see if I can add it in. So, okay. So here's the tracer window that, I'm currently looking at right at this moment in time. Okay. Now, um, here's the thing. Normally I'm aware of, like, setting breakpoints, setting up watches. Um, um, okay, so let me step back up here a little bit. Okay. Um, what I'm currently doing right now is getting, like, um, fully into, what you would do normally if you're, you know, uh, working with code. You're gonna want to try to, troubleshoot your code at some point in time. If you're not getting the right, um, you know, you're putting in some input and you're getting the wrong output, or the wrong output that you intended for, you're going to need to kind of look through your code to see if there's something going on, something wrong going on. Okay. Now, one way of going about doing that, especially if you have something, say, like, Visual Studio or Eclipse, for example, um, uh, when you are running the program, you can set, breakpoints at, specific lines of code. You can also watch certain variables to see, what values are popping up there. Now, here's the thing. Um, while I might know how to set breakpoints in both Eclipse and Visual Studio, and I know how to set watch points for both of those, I don't know how to do that in Pega. Okay, so, I'm not 100%. This is a tool that I'm not 100% sure about, but I do know that, you can use it for, trying to, debug your content. Now, I don't know. Okay, so if you can see on here, I just went through identify issue, right? Okay, and already it's showing um, all these events, you know, um, when begins, steps, so on and so forth. And, we are, going through, um, you know, from the very start of it, all the way to, it's um, all the way to, the last event that, uh, it was at, which, we're doing, we're finishing up the identify issue. It's moving on to the next one. Okay. This is everything that just happened here is everything that happened in the background. Okay. Going from, identify issue to enter customer information. All this, everything happened here. Okay. So, all the classes, all the variables, all of the um, um, data classes, what have you, right? Everything is, being shown here. Okay. Um, and what's kind of happening for the most part. Okay. And we're not really all that interested in that to begin with. Okay. We are just interested in, what happens at the very end here. So, you know, as you can see, we got a little bit more information just by selecting the username there. We're gonna go ahead and continue because, again, it's not really mattering all that much as to what is kind of going on, like, right now, right? Um, Now, obviously, um, if there's like a part of this that is, um, if we're seeing some kind of error pop up, then, obviously we're going to be wanting to kind of flag that and go, okay, what's going on here? Why are we having, some kind of problem? Like, you know, a random undefined, for example. Um, you know, One would think, hey, maybe we should look into the undefined on the work page. Why is it undefined? You know, Maybe it's not being passed properly. Um, just tiny little things like that. But obviously, we're looking through this and we're not really finding anything that like you know really like stands out for the most part, right? We got some failures there. Okay. Um, which is interesting. Not quite sure what's going on there. Um, but normally whenever you see those kind of fails, it's like maybe we need to look into that a little bit more. But again, I don't know if that is the point of failure. Like, um, is that point the point of where everything just kind of, you know, falls apart? Because it might be, okay? It might be that early, okay? Um, but I'm not 100% sure, but it's still one of those things where it's like, maybe it is, okay? Um, you might have that bit of code where everything else, you might have, function after function after function after function after function, right? And, your functions 2 through 10 might be working perfectly fine, okay? They might be, doing exactly what you want it to do. But the problem is that you might have messed up on function 1 that throws everything out of sync, okay? You put in some weird input into your function 1 and you get like gibberish at, your function 10. So, that's all I'm saying. So, um, but, we want to get to a point where, um, you know, what, what is the trigger? What is causing the problem here? So, you know, gonna try, just kind of briefly, now, the address here is one that, everybody, is often the one that keeps on getting, triggered, that it's, um, you know, what is the issue with the address that, could be failing the issue. Now, obviously, when you're looking through all of this, that's a lot to kind of take in. Okay, you're looking at a lot of um, you're looking at a lot of code here, and you know, obviously it's not exactly um, you know, I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, especially if you're like coming into a project for the first time, right? You know, if you're coming into a project and it's already millions of lines of code, if not, then you know you as a programmer, you're going to need to understand that you have a lot of work ahead of you. You're going to need to understand a lot that they're going to throw at you, and you're going to kind of have to deal with it. Now, I didn't see anything that like really like leaped out to me per se. Um, obviously there wasn't any like, false or fail, popping up, right? Um, I did see the unnamed here, which is interesting. Um, but it might be that, they created a new assignment and they haven't necessarily, put in all the data into it. Maybe. I don't know. Um, hence the reason why you have the add assign and so on and so forth. That's probably what's going on. Okay. Um, Potentially. I'm just speculating right at this moment in time. I can obviously try to do it, more of a deep dive on it, but I'm doing a initial brief overlook of what might be happening here on the tracer program and seeing if there's anything here. Now, obviously, you guys might be having a little hard time seeing this because I have it at such a small window right at this moment in time. Um, but I mean, you might be able to get the exact same thing if you go through it yourself. Run the tracer program and go through the um, go through this particular instance, go through this particular project. Um, you might get the pretty much the exact same thing. Obviously, the values would be different, unless you want to use the exact same values, which I mean you're welcome to. But um, I didn't see anything that really stuck out to me at all in that set. Okay, so we're gonna move forward. Okay, a couple more undefines, but you know, don't know why there's some undefines in there, but there are, so not much I can really do about that. Hmm. Not sure why there's a connect soap in there, but But then again, I'm not quite sure exactly what they're, you know, everything that they are doing, with this particular project as it is anyway. So, um, I mean, I could try to go, into, like I said, I could do a deep dive into each one of these, um, you know, into each one of these particular named values, finish assignment, show harness is accessible, so on and so forth, just to see, what's there, right? Um, but um, but it might be a lot of this might be so, high up in uh the overall coding tree and okay, we haven't gotten to the overall, like, well, I mean, we have, I think. We haven't. I don't think we've done on this particular uh, work through on this particular system architect journey. Really done like a major deep dive into, like, what is the, like, overall hierarchy, of Pega. What class gets called first, then after that, and after that, what when you create a brand new case type, where is it placed under, so on and so forth. I think we touched upon it slightly, but um, like right at the very beginning, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but it was never, um, one of the problems with um, these kind of class systems is that, you know, you really want to, in my particular position, you really need to kind of repeat, you know, certain topics over and over and over again so you can kind of have that, basic understanding, um, to, understand, what they're trying to get at least, for me. That's kind of how I learn, is that, if I perform something over and over and over again, then eventually I get to a point where I go, oh, okay, so that's what you need to do. Gotcha. You know, um, that's why I tended to like, math quite a bit, because not only do you have, the beginning section of, your, math textbooks kind of thing, telling you the process of how to go about, working through the problems, but they give you the problems as well, and you can work through them to kind of get an understanding of, you know okay, here's the base here's the basics of, 1 plus 1. you know oh, well, let's get it, let's make it a little challenging. What's 1 plus 2? Let's make it a little bit more challenging. What's 2 plus 1? What's 2 plus 9? That kind of thing. They start, changing up the the problems. So you're applying, the basics, and you're taking it like one step further, each and every single time, until you get to the point where, you know, like in my example, you're adding, 3-digit numbers, or, even larger than that, that kind of thing, right? Um, you know, um, that's how, at least, my mind kind of works for the most part. So, alright, so we are going to go ahead and set up this 56, and we are going to 72, 74, 76, 78, 80, 82. Oh my gosh. Okay. What is going on here? Okay. That was a lot of processing being done there. I don't know if the tracer is going to show everything that, just happened, seeing that we were at 56. And, as you can see, it covered a lot of code. And a lot of this is, code that's like internal, you know, um, things that, base class and the like. A lot of this is, that, you know, um, at the foundation level of the entire program of Pega. Okay, so, and of course, if it gets down to that point, you know, we're, we're not going to be able to change anything there. Okay, that's just not possible for us to work on here. Um, we're not going to be able to go to the base class and modify anything there because we would basically be messing with what Pega is. Okay, because or let me put it this way. Okay, they have it set up in a specific way. Okay, if we change you know, the foundation code to handle our, you know, R1 scenario, then we could potentially be, messing up everything else. Okay, so you want to be very careful on, well, I mean, uh, they don't necessarily give you that option of doing that. Just putting it, put that, letting you know that, hey, um, while you might think, oh yeah, I can mess with that. Yeah, probably not the best course of action. Now, let's see. Are we going to be able to, you know, eventually the tracer will kind of stop. It will, basically say, hey, um, or, it won't show. Yeah, see, as you can see, we started at 56 and we were already well beyond that. So, um, but again, I didn't really see anything that, um, we didn't really see anything that, um, like a failure or anything along those lines. You know, we didn't see a fail in the status at all. Um, so, so now, Okay, it eventually did stop, but I was afraid a little bit that that the um that the tracer would just kind of keep on, moving through, a lot of the lines, threads, and the like. But okay, so we click on go, and how many events, how many lines they go through? Not too much, about 14. Okay, not really seeing anything here that's like leaping out at me saying, there's like major problems. Just but then again, I'm looking at it with an untrained eye too. So if anybody is, um, if you're coming into this as well and you have a trained eye, you're very experienced with Pega, then feel free to speak up and let me know like, oh hey, at at event number um, you know, um, 13007, there was a failure. So, um, you know, so in this particular instance, you know, unable to open an instance using the given inputs of PX object class of rule portal of owner inner live empty SP1. All right. Um, you know, Not sure if that, you know, I don't think that has really anything to really do with, like directly with us. Um, but I mean, if if I was like working for Pega itself, I'd be checking to see, was that intentional? You know, um, did you actually intend for it to fail? You know, you know, maybe they did. But as you can see, there wasn't any additional like, failures um going on here. Um, that really stands out. And again, we're still in the validation section here. So, okay, so we're at, 14 to 46. So I'm gonna click on approve here, and that should take us all the way to service. Oh boy. Okay, that jumped 4,000 to, um, through all of this to try to get set up. Um, Now, typically, the service tag here is the one that has like the major issues, right? You know, um, so I'm looking to see if there is like a spot here that like really like stands out, like we have a few failures or something. That's kind of what I'm looking for right now, just to see if there's something that like really like stands out right at this point. Um, Now again, um, this isn't where the error pops up though. Okay. But I'm looking through this and seeing like, is there something that like, was the linking of the um service case type supposed to have been done already? You know, and if so, um, you know, did the did the failure, occur, you know, already, or is it, or has it not yet been taken care of? You know, Not sure. That's why I'm looking through the trace file here just to see if there's something, some little nugget that we can glean from the 4,000 lines of code that it just went through, right? Um, and it doesn't look like there is much to really go off of. You know, yeah, I don't see anything. Okay. Um, Now, unfortunately, when I select like when I select the provider here, um, it might go through a number, like another 4,000 lines of code, and everything that I have here is probably going to be gone. Okay. Um, so I mean, there might be a part in this particular, set of code that might be the problem. Okay. Um, like this go road work assistance request here. You know, um, this might be uh, this might have the problem. Right? Potentially. And when I clicked on that, it said that it would block the pop-up, but I kind of want the pop-up to show up, just in case. Um, for potential, for me to kind of look at a little bit later. Um, Now I'm not necessarily seeing anything that is, I probably should be like looking over here, you know, obviously I can pretty much ignore the base class, for the most part. Not much I can really do about that. Same with the system queue notification. Um, what I'm kind of looking for um, is the classes that, are associated with um, with the two, or, with the, um, that's kind of associated with, um, the two case types that we made, right? Or, we modified. So if there's any reference to either one of those case types, then, maybe we might need to kind of look at that a little bit more. Um, but so far, not much is being brought up there. A lot of this is kind of, under, everything is kind of being handled pretty much behind the scenes for the most part. Um, so I'm not really, I don't feel like I'm really seeing anything here that really like jumps out at me that, um, I'm seeing a major problem. I see when rule evaluation, begin and end, and they're evaluating it to true, okay, you know, that really isn't, that really doesn't say much, obviously. You're just having you know, um, you're just kind of checking that rule and to see if it passes or not, and that's it. There isn't really any kind of like, you know, you're not really pulling any information or anything like that. Now, that it might have been, a lot of this might be kind of being done through like, the base class or whatnot, um, but again, I'm not really seeing anything in particular that, really kind of leaps out at me that, hey, we're having an issue here. So, um, now I'm half inclined on just going ahead and clicking on the next portion that would normally cause the error and see if we do indeed have a lot of failures in the evaluation, or at least one failure in particular. I don't know. We'll see. But I don't really see anything that like really like leaps out at me per se. Other than the undefined, it's like why do you have undefineds? you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I think one of my professors said, always define something anyway. Even if it's um, minor or I don't know. Well, maybe they are just kind of being undefined just so that they're looking for data inside, or will be eventually filled with data, whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna do the select provider and see what happens. It was at 182. Okay, there's the failure, create child class. And we did about 3,000 lines of code to get to this point. Now, first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to see if there is some red flags in the tracer. I didn't have the window completely up, so I couldn't really see like definitively, was there, did it indeed, have some red flags that popped up? I don't know. Um, if you saw it, let me, eventually I'll get to it anyway, but interesting that we have work page has messages in it. Oh, really interesting. We'll come back to that a little bit later. Let's see like the very bottom of this because you know um nope, there's a failure. Okay, There's another failure. Interesting. Okay. Couple failures going on. Couple more failures going on. Another failure. There's a lot of failures going on. Okay. But we haven't gone into like, the very kind of start of all of the issues at this point. We started off at, 182, right? So let me go down at the very bottom, just in case. Or, let me go all the way to, 182 because there might be some additional problems here. So, there might have been like a trigger that happened, early in the um, early in your code that cascaded into the overall failure. Okay. And seeing that this is indeed the portion that had the overall failure. Okay. So we're going to start here and we're going to kind of work our way back up and we're going to look at the failures one after another and see if there's some kind of clue that might, give us some idea as to kind of what we're looking at here. So I'm going to look at that first error or first failure that's up here. And now let's see what this is all about. Okay, so we're having work get email sender info here. Okay. Um, we're trying to open up uh, this value here and okay, so the instance is of course the A4. Um, let's see. Update author, customer name, customer email example. Um, hmm. Obviously it's having a lot of the customer information and the like in here. Um, but I'm just trying to see. Um, there's something here that um, kind of indicates as to what 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 the main failure of it is all about. Maybe they try to send an email off to this particular address, and obviously the um, they never got a like the um, maybe there was like a an email failure connection to the email server or something like that. Like there was no go road to kind of connect to, and so this process of trying to you know um, you know send an email you know didn't necessarily work as intended. Let me see if I can go to that particular um, you know get email sender info. Let me see what this if I can actually go to that particular section. Now, I kind of doubt that I'll be able to kind of get there per se because it is, work dash get email sender info, which is typically um uh typically evaluated to being like the base of the um of Pega. So oh, why are we moving here? Pausing the tracer. Because right now it's trying to open up the rule form in this particular case. Um, right, we're currently in get email sender info under work. Um, Pega integration architect 08 07 01. And so um, let's see. We had the failure at the um, oh, did it completely remove that particular step? It might have completely removed that step, so I don't know. I think it was under like the second um, OBG, OBJ open. Um, let's see. Yeah, I think it was the second OBJ open that had the failure. So um, hmm. Yeah, and I think this is information that um, it doesn't really apply to the situation that we're in right at this moment in time. Um, um, activity gets the information about sending email account. So now, according to this, this particular record has, two severe or moderate warnings, including one unjustified and one info warning, which is like, okay, Pega, what's going on here? Why are you having severe or moderate warnings on, your base code? But whatever, we're gonna ignore that. We'll go ahead and move on. Because again, that's concerning the email address that is a fake email address. Now, if you have a proper email address, then it might not have had a direct issue with that. But um, Now what I want to know is this part right here where it's saying that it has the message for the work page. Now let's see. Now, you're probably not really seeing this because no, just kind of wondering if it had like the error message. Um, if that was the message that it's referring to, but yeah, I was trying to see if, this message right here is actually being provided on the PY work page, but, I just tried to do a search for that particular line, and that wasn't the message in question. So, hmm, I'm kind of curious about this actually. Um, okay, so, right here at the PY work page, right? When I go down to the very bottom of this PY work page here, I'm seeing the PX core summary, one email embed core summary, help is on the way, data core email, go road, blah blah blah, on the core handle. Um, and it makes me wonder, you know, um, you know, is it as simple as the fact that it's trying to send an email out to a fake email address and failing at it? Could it be really that simple? Because we're already having some issues with, trying to connect to the fake email address anyway. Um, could be, could it be? Okay, so when I clicked on one message on this page, the PY work page, one go road dash work dash assistance request dot py message label covered object class is missing. Hmm. Okay. So now I don't know if I exit out of the preview, will it close down the tracer program? Because I would like to try to see about looking into the, see if I can try, trace down like covered object class is missing and see if there's like anything additional there. Um, let's see. Can I look? Nope, not that particular tracer program did not work the way I wanted it to. Let's see. Covered object class is missing. Which obviously, is um, that's the main problem for this. The create child class of the child work object is not specified, right? So, um, let's see. Um, I'm trying to see if there's anything else in the tracer here that um, might shed some light on this first. Now, when I go up here, right before the work page starts having this issue, you see the PZ create case, right? So, um, so I'm kind of wondering, did they somehow mess up here, like maybe in the create case, that like maybe they're not passing in the information properly? I mean, this is under the work class, so um, let's see. Check if child class param is default. If yes, set to empty. Okay. Child class is not set to default, so it skips the step. Remove page property for one subcase. If param selected mode is equal to subcase, are we skipping the step or are we continuing? According to this, it skips it. So okay. If the selected mode is equal to top case, we either call the px create top case activity or we skip the step. So according to this, once again, the top case is set to false, so we skip that. So, okay. Then we have the next step here, which is the px add child work. And select mode is not create top case, which it isn't. We're calling px add child work activity. So that's true. So it's calling the add child work activity here. Okay. So now we're going to be going into, let me close out this window. Doesn't really, it's not really needed all that much at this point. Okay, so we're going to the add child work, right? So um, so the activity begins. We go to the first step, which is Java. Set value of primary page parameter to tuple of page, as we want tuple of page in scenarios like from split from page, from utility for creating child cases with page list property, etc. Okay. Okay, so the source code here is just string prime page name is equal to my step page dot get tuple of page open paren close paren dot get reference open paren close paren semicolon tools dot put param value primary page comma prim page name. Okay. So I mean that's so first first thing that it's doing is setting the string name of prim page name to the getting the reference of the top level page and then um, um, putting the param value into the tools for param page name. All right. Okay, so um, that's basically being evaluated to being good, so it's gonna kind of continue on. So the next one is the page set messages step number 2 here. So check that this is a work cover descendant. Is cover, skip step, or continue wins, right? So um, so we start the when begin. We're evaluating it, which it turns out to be true. So um, So let's see. If true, we skip the step. If it is false, if it isn't a work cover descendant, then we continue with the step, which is basically setting the category message to, um, message label work object must be a cover. Um, so obviously it's already a work cover. We're good there. So it proceeds onwards. So we move on, right? So we don't need to worry about that particular step. That step has been evaluated to true, so it moves on to the next step, which is step number 3. So the next step is a property set of set local properties. Um, so it takes a lot of the values of the param of the child class, page property, flow name, equals ignored case, copy to child, none, target embedded page. It sets those local properties for the local as page class, as page property, as flow name, as map name, as target embedded page. So I mean that shouldn't necessarily have any like major problems to it, or at least it shouldn't. So, we're setting the properties. It turns out to be good, so it moves on to the next portion, which is step 4. Page set messages, primary page. If page property is empty, child class must not be. Okay. So if local.s page property is set to blank, or it has nothing in there, there's no value contained within it, and the local s page class is also blank. If either one of those are true, then it continues on to the step. If they're false, then you can skip the step. But it checks out both of them, to see whether or not they're true or not. So in this particular case, we're checking out the S page property, and we're seeing that it is indeed true. It has nothing contained within it. And the S page class is also set to true. So based off of this, and that's probably what really is the triggering part of this. Okay, there's here, let me go back to the param child class and the hold on, let me raise this up a little bit here. The param child class, which evaluates to the S page class, which is blank, and the S page property, which is the param page property, isn't they're not being filled at all. So hence the reason why we're having some issues with this, because neither one of those are being set. Hence the reason why we're getting that message about, there's no child class. That's where the this message pops up, where it's where it's saying covered object class is missing, and that's probably where the main error for this creating the child class child class work object is not specified. So the values that should be being set in the param.child class and the param.page property is not being set, or is not being referenced. properly, or it might be actually being clobbered at some point during this entire process. Like meaning that it might have been set at one particular point in time, but it might have been like removed, you know, along the way. So like they might have had it at one point, like like maybe at the very beginning of the entire trace, it might have set the child class, it might have set the page property, but later on down, as as you proceed through the code, it might have been reset, it might have been cleared out, and you no longer have access to it. Um, that could be a possibility of what's going on. Um, Now, seeing that that is indeed, what could be going on right at this moment in time, um, it makes me think that maybe I should try to run this again. Um, Here, let me go ahead and close the tracer down. We'll close that down. Um, we'll go ahead. I mean, we can't necessarily cancel and delete this right at this moment in time, so um, maybe we can just kind of create a brand new one. We'll go ahead and start up the tracer again. What I want to do is see if I can do, um, can I don't know if that's going to be proper or not. I don't know what the page number of the Pramin page property is all about. Okay. But I mean, maybe I can maybe it'll show some information about it. Maybe. Okay, let's see. I'm just checking to see if there's maybe something here that shows the watched values. Seeing if there's like maybe something here that is setting those values at all. Um, but so far nothing has like popped up at all. Um, Let me see. Child class and page property isn't showing up yet. Maybe it just hasn't gotten to that point yet. We'll see. A lot of fails in this particular run through. Again, I'm not necessarily seeing anything in terms of the watch variables. It's not really showing anything there, which is, kind of unfortunate, but nothing for child, nothing for page property. Okay. I mean, like I said, maybe it doesn't fill out until later. I'm not sure. Let's kind of continue on. Watch, my little watch window isn't showing anything different, so nothing for child, nothing for page property. So, I mean, I'm just seeing if maybe at some point in time, there's a point where either any of those values get set. That's all. That's all I'm doing right at the moment. So now it could be like, these aren't set until the service actually occurs, but I don't know. We're just gonna kind of continue on and see if, we have some, um, a little bit of, you know, difference in, like what occurs. Once again, nothing watch on that one. No child. Yeah, I had to put down page property there. Okay. Again, nothing new, so finish off the inner payment information. Should go back to the crate for A5, which it did. Okay. My little watch window didn't change. Oh, hello. Hmm. Okay, so it's child case that it's seen here. It's not highlighting any of them, however, so I'm not quite sure. Um, hmm. Let's see. Let me. Service isn't anywhere in that listing right at this moment in time. What about page property? Page property is not being set either. Okay. So we might not be there yet. So we'll proceed onwards. So, you know, we might have gone forward a little bit here, so child isn't there. Page property is not there. Okay. Okay, so now we're on the service page here. Got a lot of lines of code occurring. So one would imagine that the child child class is not being set. Okay. Neither is the page property. Or at least according to the tracer, neither one of those two have any kind of values associated with them. Now, it might, I don't know. Maybe even selecting the service, select provider here isn't gonna bring up the, even in the tracer isn't gonna bring up the values that I want. Even though there's a lot of warnings about it, so yeah, the only time child class and page property gets evaluated at any point in time is when it's trying to create a case and add the child. Hmm. Which makes me feel like um, we might be having an issue with the service case type in some fashion or another, but I'm not 100% sure on this. Here, I'm going to go ahead and close the tracer window here. I don't know if you all were seeing the tracer window or not, but um, now, hmm, let me switch on over to Dev Studio and see if I can find where the um, hmm. Okay, I'm not really seeing anything there. Hmm. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if there's like maybe some value that like should be there, but they didn't add in somehow. Um, hmm. Don't really need to save anything there. It's not showing everything right at this moment in time. But oh well, it doesn't really matter all that much. Hmm. There's no goal or deadline, so that doesn't really matter all that much. Hmm. Instantiation method of creation for child cases. It makes me figure that maybe I think this is what might be the problem. Like maybe the instantiation isn't being set for service, and therefore um, no child case is being created, and therefore because it's not being created, um, there's nothing for assistance request to latch onto. Maybe again, I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on that. Okay, but I would figure that this might be the issue potentially. Not sure. I'm not, like I said, I'm not an expert at this, so I can't, you know, uh, I'm not someone that's going to be like, oh yeah, this is exactly what the issue is, and so on and so forth. I mean, if Pega themselves are having some difficulty with trying to get this running properly, then um, maybe something, I don't know. Maybe there's something else going on isn't um, that isn't necessarily being set up. So um, but so far, validation, configure validate rules that are evaluated each time a case is saved. Is this a part that I can like have the values set at all? I don't know. I'm just checking if there's like something here that might need that might no. I'm not gonna look in on that more. So don't want to mess on that. So okay. Um. Well, technically, you know, my hour of uploading videos has come and gone already. Done 2 hours of doing this video right now, and I suspect that it might be this instantiation. Select a method for case creation. So I'm assuming that this should be checked off. Now, again, I don't know. Um, I don't know if that is indeed the case. Okay. I'm like I said, I'm not an expert on this, but I'm suspecting that, the instantiation should be checked off, and therefore when um, the param child class and the param page property, might actually get values inside of them associated with the child class because the service is a child class. Um, you know, I I think that is what the issue is. Okay. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on this. Okay. I'll go ahead and contact my friend about it, you know, see what she has to say about it, see if she agrees with me, and then I'll send it on to Pega. But I'm not going to do that just yet. I want to confirm first before I do anything. Before I go like, hey, Pega, you screwed up because you need to do this. Okay. Um, I don't want to do that. I want to confirm with her first, with the expert first, make sure that that is indeed probably the issue at hand. Um, if not, then obviously, I'm gonna let her know that, hey, when I did the trace, it, showed that the child class and the page property were not being filled in properly. So hence the reason why there was the covered object class is missing. So um, so we'll see what happens from here. I'll keep you all apprised on it. Um, this might be like the last time that I really do any kind of like major deep dive on it. But we'll see what happens. Okay. Um, I'm not gonna really I don't really want to keep on coming back to this particular challenge, to get hit with that particular error over and over and over again. It's pointless. Um, but it doesn't help me on getting my certification later. Okay, so um, but let me contact my friend, see what happens, and I'll give you the guy, I'll give details about it, as soon as I get like a reply back. Okay. So, but that's where we're going to go ahead and cut the Pega portion of this stream off. We're going to stop it here. Um, I'm going to go ahead and switch on over to Subnautica, below zero, and we're going to continue on with that gameplay. Um, but I want to thank everybody that was watching me for the Pega portion. Anybody that was just kind of lurking in the background and just, vibing, or maybe you're trying to see exactly, what I was doing, and maybe you learned something new. That's awesome. Hopefully you'll stick with me. Continue to watch. Subscribe, make comments. Do all the standard YouTube stuff that every YouTuber would love. Because obviously it helps them out. Um, you know, um, pass these videos on to your friends if they're having some difficulty. Every little bit helps. So, um, but that's it. That's where we're gonna go ahead and end uh, this video here. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you again next time.